I'll make this last part very brief, but I think it'll be of great interest to everyone to know about what has gone on here. And I think I'd like to start by really congratulating everyone as participants. The registration, so when we were planning this last year, we had 200 registrants, alhamdulillah. And when we were planning this year's Quran and Science Symposium, Mehdi Saab told me that the registration wasn't good enough and that we needed to really try to boost it as much higher. And so we set a goal for 250 attendees. And I was writing a letter to Huzur almost every week for the last 2 or 3 months, specifically mentioning this goal of 250 attendees. I'd like to tell you that I just received a message from the ladies' side that they alone had 250 attendees. Alhamdulillah. And at least from our count, although our registration had a few glitches, from our head count during the midday, we had 140 to maybe 170. So in total, we had about 400 attendees. So alhamdulillah. So this is a great blessing, and I also will come back to the logistics about this at the very end. Emir Saab, I also wanted to mention that we had a poster session, and if I might just mention the winners of the poster session.
Yes.
And just because of time, we do have their medals, but if time is short, would it be possible for them to receive their?
Yeah, it's not easy for me to get up and go and give it to them, so.
Oh, okay, then absolutely. Then they'll just come up.
Right, that's fine. We'll do it from right here.
Okay, very good. So let me first mention the ladies, or the girls and the ladies, that they had a vigorous, the results of the Women's Science Fair is that they voted, all of the Nasirat, or all of the ladies or the Nasirat voted as one group, and they came upon this ranking. The third place went to Ayman Haq Saiba from Silver Spring Jamaat for a poster on experiment on color and heat. Barakallahu lakum.
Barakallahu.
Second place was Inaya Verk Saiba from Silver Spring Jamaat for her experiment on the rotting banana. So, barakallahu lakum. We will not have any of that for dinner, so no worries. The first place went to Ilham Husain from Pittsburgh for her poster on Ebola. And so, barakallahu lakum. And then for the boys and the men, there were 2 categories. And if you're here, please come up to receive your medal from Emir Saab. The first group was 18 years old and above, and the first place went to future Dr. Ibrahim Orabi Saib. Barakallahu lakum. And he had 2 posters, so he just tried to maximize on getting first prize.
Barakallahu lakum.
And the second place went to Adil Malik Saib of Silver Spring or of Maryland somewhere, and his poster was on macrophages. I think he's actually trying to get the food, so barakallahu lakum to him.
Barakallahu lakum, yes.
The second group was under age 18, and the third place went to Masroor Haq Saib. Barakallahu lakum.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
Second grade.
MashaAllah. That's very good. MashaAllah. Keep it up.
The second place went to Munib Sharif Saib of Boston. Barakallahu lakum.
MashaAllah. That's very good. Barakallahu lakum. What grade are you in? 7? MashaAllah.
And as you heard, these young poster presenters were very enthusiastic about their posters, so much so that you weren't able to talk in the background. So the first place went to Hisham Burke Sahib. Barakallahu lakum.
MashaAllah. Wonderful, beta. What grade are you in?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade. That's a wonderful grade.
Well done.
MashaAllah.
And just very briefly, I wanted to mention that all of the talks, presentations, and PowerPoints will be available online on our website at www.muslimscientists.org, one word and in the plural, muslimscientists.org. So you can watch them at your leisure. I'm actually going to skip over a few points. Today we really had a lot of food for thought, and I hope now we'll be able to take this to our homes. As Mehdi Sahib mentioned, that we'll read the Holy Quran with translation, tafsir, and we'll ponder over its deep inner meanings by using various methods. I have a few other announcements to make. And one of them is really a thanks. There are many people that were involved. I actually have a list. In the interest of time, I may not be able to read off of the list. And if I have forgotten someone, my sincere apologies. Again, I actually had planned on just reading off of this list. I will mention a few people who were part of our core team. And again, they had also team members helping them, and they are included in these prayers and thanks. Adil Malik Sahib of Maryland was our Nazim Logistics, and he was up quite late on several nights working on this program. Jazakallah to him, as well as his team for transportation, ziyafat, as well as accommodations set up. Shurjeel Chaudhry Sahib was also working with him in IT-related matters and whatever you see here. Then Temur Ahmed Sahib from Long Island was part of our outreach and registration. So if you receive more emails than you could handle, you can blame him. But I think it was helpful to receive those notices. He was also in charge of registration. Dr. Zia Shah Sahib was the Nazim for program development, and I'd really like to thank Dr. Shah because he has a full plate with the Muslim Times, and yet he felt like this was really important and took it on. And he had a group of very accomplished speakers, young and less young, and so jazakallah to all of them. I'd like to thank all of the moderators. I'd like to thank all of the local volunteers from the Bait-ur-Rehman area, including Silver Spring, President Saab of Silver Spring, local Lajna Sadr Saiba of Silver Spring. I'd like to especially thank all of the members within the Ahmadiyya Women Scientists Association, Dr. Navira Tahir, for working with us and getting a better turnout than we were able to get. And there are many more. And again, also Ijaz Ahmed Sahib, our timekeeper, who I think is going to give me a time card right now. We need your feedback. And I think we did not include a feedback form. Please, if you want to write it down, if you want to email it, if you would like to just let us know what feedback you would provide. I think, the final is that we have a special situation. And in fact, Mehdi Sahib had mentioned this in the morning when we were having an informal discussion. It's that on the one hand, you have creationists who not only, have the views that were mentioned, but even have museums for creationism, where some of them believe that dinosaurs were on Noah's Ark. And and as well as every other species. And it's hard to imagine a brontosaurus, on a small boat. And so it's, on the one hand, you have creationists. On the other hand, you have atheists that believe everything was by randomness. And then you have the Word of God, which is the Holy Quran, and the elucidation of that in hadith, as well as in this day and age in the writings of Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. I was struck by the fact that in Malfuzat, Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam mentions that we do not believe that Adam was the first person who inhabited the earth 6,000 years ago, and goes on. So the question is where we take this and how we really build upon our understanding of what the Holy Quran says. So, Jazakallah to all.